Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with the Eberlestock Freefall 3000. So this here, a 2800 cubic inch or 46 liter backpack. And I am absolutely pumped to have this in my hands. Now I saw this for the very first time at SHOT Show 2024, where they debuted this, got it in front of people, announced it to the audience, and there were a number of different colorways. I could have got one of these pretty early on, but I really wanted the multicam, and it took Eberlestock a while to release the multicam in the 3000 version. Now keep in mind the fact that there's also a Freefall 2000 smaller bag, more for day trips. I really wanted something that was going to allow me to bridge not just a overpacked day trip, but really getting overnight, backpacking, getting out into the mountains, and having more of a sustainable kit. So the 3000, in my opinion, awesome. The multicam, awesome. And so it took me a little bit to get my hands on this, but finally it is here. We're going to go through this today in a first look and impression, go through all of the details. Now I literally just broke this out of the plastic. Going to get into some detail, and then in the future I'll do a full carry and impression video out on the trails. So today, getting a look at this for the first time, going through all the features, and as I mentioned, I'm looking forward to putting this to some good use. Now, there's no doubt that I am absolutely not your lightweight or ultralight backpacker. I am never, ever light. Rather, I go for something that's going to carry very well, has an excellent, robust harness and shoulder carry system, nice belts, and the ability to really hold weight. As somebody, and a reviewer, somebody who has to carry a bunch of extra gear, sometimes I don't have the luxury of going lightweight, or certainly not ultralight. Now, do I have ultralight kits? I do, but most of the time I want something robust, something durable. And where I hike, it is pretty rugged, so having the nice quality nylon and Cordura material that's going to be abrasion resistant, a little bit water resistant, tougher buckles, things that I know I can trust deep in the mountains, that's where I tend to go. So I prefer more of the tactical style. I prefer more rugged and robust carry in terms of the harness system and the features. And so that's why a bag like the Freefall 3000 makes a lot of sense to me. And so as we open this up, there will be a number of things that, if you're an Eberlestock fan, will look very familiar. A lot of things that you've come to know and expect, but probably some things that you're going to like that break this apart from the crowd just a bit. Now we'll go from the front of the bag to the back. And first off, I already mentioned that this is the Freefall 3000. Yet it's a 2800 cubic inch bag, translating to more of around 46 liters. Now that makes this a very tight carry for me. I am typically a 60 liter carry when I go backpacking. I can get into smaller, but it really does require me to be very selective and very careful with my kit. And so this bag is going to be tight, but I know I can make it work. Right away in the very top, you can see this simple pocket right on the top. This is going to be awesome for my food. I can tell you already that I really do think I will put my food right on top, just right on that lid. Very easy to get to. Pull my snacks out and all the stuff that I need while I'm on the trails. Very simple, very easy. And that minimizes the amount that I'm going to need to go into the rest of the bag. I really do try to avoid all of the main zippers while I'm on the trails so that I'm keeping everything inside nice and contained. So having this right on top is going to be fantastic. Now you also have a keeper. That could be obviously used to lash something like keys or whatnot. But usually things that are very sensitive, I try to put deeper in the bag and tuck them away and not get them into any compartments that I will open while I'm out on the trails. So this for me, right away I can tell you, good possibility this will be for my food. Maybe something in the winter time like gloves or a hat would go right on top. Something that I could get to very easy. Working down the front of the bag, here you can see a large pocket, very simple. Now this, unfortunately, is not really gusseted. I kind of wish this had a nice heavy gusset right down the front, because what that would do is maintain this as very flat while it's not in use. But as you add bulky items, it would protrude out the bag towards the front and not push into the bag, which creates what I'm going to call competition of space with the interior compartment. So I think the fact that this is not gusseted is a bit of a miss, but we'll see how that is once I put this into practical field use. But again, a nice pocket on the outside. This could certainly hold more food. This could definitely hold my hat, things that you need on the trails, a light jacket, all that kind of stuff would be nice and easy right on the outside of the bag. Along the bottom, a separated compartment. Now, a lot of people will use this type of a compartment for the sleeping bag. I would say maybe, we'll see. It does have an interior separation of space here. You can see that this does give you a little bit of a drawstring and the ability to cinch this down, and it creates a separation of the top of the bag from the bottom. Sleeping bag should fit in here nicely. Certainly for me, I would tend to try to, it depends. I go with the stuff and crush method a lot, which is awesome. So this type of compartment is going to work very well for that, where I'll take things like a tarp and I'll crush it in here and get it to fit real tight down inside. I would probably put my sleep system right here, because this allows me to get to camp, open this up, get my sleep system out, which allows me then to set it up before I get into the rest of the contents of the bag, which would have my sleeping bag, pillow, clothing, and all the things I want to make sure don't end up on the ground. And that will help keep them dry and clean as I get my shelter system set up. So in all reality, I will probably fit my shelter system down here. That would work out extremely well. Now, of course, as you take a look, very traditional in terms of Eberlestock zipper pulls, nice quality YKK zippers. Again, the awesome Cordura nylon. Now, you've heard me say Cordura nylon. Of course, Cordura being name brand, and I am not necessarily seeing Cordura tags. Now, it's not to say that it's not, but I don't see any information on the website indicating that this is necessarily Cordura. I will try to clarify that, and if I can get the answer, I will annotate below. Now, on the side, you can see nice quality compression straps, 2 of them working up the side. That's going to do a few things. Obviously, it helps to maintain the bag in a very slim profile, but as I need to expand, I have the ability to open things up, get a little bit more volume. And then the other thing is, this makes an excellent ability to connect things like tripods, trekking poles, anything like that. Obviously, if you're using this for hunting, you could put your tripod, lash a bunch of gear to this. Gives you some flexibility and options depending on what you need. These are UTX Duraflex buckles, which are very high quality. And the other thing that I greatly like is they have color matched all of the webbing to match with the multicam. So that's a nice touch, nice and clean, looking really good. Sometimes companies will use an alternate color. I definitely prefer this, so that is very nicely done. Unzipping the main compartment here, all the way down. This should pretty much be like a clamshell opening. So as you open this up, now I definitely do not necessarily prefer a clamshell opening. So what I will probably do is leave the bottom compression strap connected, allow this to open all the way down to this point, and then stuff my gear down and inside. Now that I have my shelter system down in this section, next thing to go down inside will probably be my sleep system. So sleep system crushed all the way down, and then my clothing, pots, pans, things like that. So the fact that this opens up all the way is great. I do like that, and you do definitely have some flexibility in how you run the bag, but I will probably keep, again, the bottom compression strap tight and then crush everything down. Now, this is pretty similar to other bags that you'll see from Eberlestock. Interior compartmentalization, the ability to hang a water bladder down into this sleeve, water resistant, which helps to keep the moisture off of the rest of your gear. So that's going to work out very well. You do have a couple of compartments here right on the front, and you'll notice that as you take a look here, This is where you end up with just a little bit of a pleat, and that's taking care of the space for the gear that goes in that head section down into the pocket inside. So it's actually pretty well done the way they constructed that. And then you end up with this mesh pocket partway down. Things like headlamps, fire starting kits, toiletries, all that kind of stuff can go right in here. That works out very well. And of course, with the rest of the bag, you can make this up in a number of different ways. But as you look at the side panels, this not only expands once you undo these compression straps, but it gives you some additional compartmentalization on the inside. So you can leverage these pockets. They have a little bit of an elasticized keeper. You can leverage these pockets for a number of different items. You end up with 3 on each side. And this works out well for things like, for me, I would put components to my mess kit in here so I can just grab them and slide them out. This is another place where you could put headlamps or lights, flashlights, things like that. So a nice layout on the inside of the bag. It's not too much, it's just enough. Notice that you do have pass-throughs for your hydration bladder hose. Those go through to the outside. And you do need to be a little bit careful with a bag of this style to make sure that you zip everything nicely and get all of the flaps in place to help keep this as water resistant as possible. With large zippers and exposed on the outside of the bag, these can be prone to moisture intrusion. So as long as you're careful, that should work out just fine. And I would go as far as to say this is the type of bag where you may want some sort of a rain fly, especially if you think you're going to encounter significant rain. On each side, there is a fairly substantial pocket. Again, this will allow you, to introduce water bottles, tripods, fairly large items that you can get down inside here. You can even put pots and pans, of certain sizes, different containers, nest them one inside another. You could put a sleep system or a tent in here. You could definitely carry your trekking poles, a number of different ways that you can leverage compartments like this and these side pouches. They're a nice size, they're stretchy, and they do have that shock keeper over the top, so you can cinch these down entirely, nice and secure. I like these pockets, and they should function very well, not only on one side, but of course on both sides. So a little bit flexibility there on the outside of the bag, very nice and a good construction. I'm looking forward to seeing how this performs out on the trails. Now at 46 liters, this can definitely hold a good amount of weight, and I would go as far as to say this bag is built out way more than the amount of weight that you should carry in it. So what I'm trying to say is 46 liters, you're gonna find yourself pretty busy getting things that are heavy enough to weigh out the bag more than its capability to carry it. Excellent, robust shoulder straps, again, that we've come to expect and trust with Eberlestock. Nice and comfortable with this yoke system, adjustable on this ladder system, so these can go up and down depending on your torso height, and that goes in combination with the belt. Now the belt is going to translate all of that weight down into your lumbar, and especially given the fact that there is an aluminum frame, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to see, but you can see right here, nice and exposed, translating all the weight of that bag down into your hips to allow this to really carry with all of the weight dispersed around your hips. Now, many times Eberlestock does offer different size waist belts. I know you can get aftermarket waist belts. I'm not exactly sure what size this is. I will try to figure it out and again annotate below. Nice oversized lumbar, extremely well padded, and a pull forward design on the buckles and straps. This is effective. I've used this a number of times on different packs. This is effective. I've used it a number of times on different packs. It is very comfortable, and especially if it fits your waist well. So again, I'll give you some data points to go by. But real quick before that, notice that there is an incredible amount of ventilation. Not only do you have this nice panel, but it's complete mesh, and with everything being held off not only by the pads, but by that stay, you will have good airflow and ventilation through here. It should breathe fairly well, and on top of that, especially given the fact that you can translate a good amount of that weight to your hips, loosen up just a bit on the shoulder straps, buy you a little bit of breathing room, and this should vent well. I'll, again, be very interested in seeing how this performs out on the trails. Mesh throughout all of the shoulder straps, perforated in terms of ventilation in all of the padding, straps and lashing points all the way around your sternum strap, load lifter straps. This shoulder harness system is extremely nice and should really aid in comfort and long-term comfort while you're out on the trails. Now the bag itself weighing in at 5 pounds 1 ounce for the 3,000 cubic inch bag. To me, that's not too bad given the amount of quality in the ride, and I can tell you it really does not feel that heavy getting it on my back. Now again, with that shoulder system and the harness system, pull forward design right there on the hip belt. My waist is about 33 inches. I'm right between a 32 and a 34. So call it 33 inches. And you can see here as I cinch this down and right across the front here, this does wrap right around the front. So this is probably considered to be about a medium-sized belt if I had to guess. Should work for people with a slightly larger waist. Definitely will work for people with a smaller waist, and that will wrap around even further. I think it's just kind of in the eye of the beholder what you like. For me, this is about the perfect size. Now, this feels very nimble and light on my back for a couple of reasons. First off, as this is cinched down, plenty of room in the ability to move my arms around, nothing getting in the way, my ability to make it through tight areas, nothing going to snag. So we'll see how low profile this maintains as I build it out with my kit. And then beyond that, you also have these hip pouches, so very convenient right on the side. Again, the simple ability to put different things. I could certainly take my cell phone, pop it right in there. So good and convenient right there. Cameras, optics, and even here, things that you need. Very simple while you're out on the trails. Nice and convenient. And of course, on both sides. A little bit of that stretchy material, so this has a little bit of flex and give. Not quite as abrasion resistant there as other materials that are used on the rest of the pack, but more than suitable. So a very nice layout overall. Just a beautiful pack. I love this Freefall. I cannot wait to get this out on the trails. And so again, this is really more of a first look and impression, showing you the overall features. I will be getting this out without a doubt this summer, getting it out for some good outdoor adventure. Hopefully I can fit all my kit in here. Again, I'm more of your 65 liter backpacker. I'm going to be fitting into a 46 liter pack. I know I'll make it. I'll bring a nice lightweight kit. This thing is going to be awesome. So thank you guys for following along. If you like what you see here, do me a favor, look in the description box below for all of the relevant links. And if you like this content, check out my Outer Limitless family of channels. You're here on Outer Limitless, my primary channel, hiking, camping, backpacking, EDC gear. Outer Limitless 2, the tactical and firearm side of things. Outer Limitless blades, all those sharp and pointy things. And Outer Limitless lights, from EDC lights, headlamps, indoor, outdoor lighting, you name it. That's the Outer Limitless family of channels. Thank you guys for following along. Take care now. I'll see you soon.